Hello, Jonathan Taylor here. I'm an online safety consultant and I spend all my time now visiting schools in the UK and international schools, the British schools and international schools, carrying out workshops on online safety for staff, for pupils, and of course parents and carers. And I continue to advise and give help in the creation of online safety policies, acceptable use policies. But what I'm being asked most of all at the moment, especially this year, is what is this whole school approach towards online safety? What is expected of schools and academy, and what training is required? I even get asked, well, who should actually supply this training? What I can assist with schools is to let you know that the whole school approach was really coined in about 2015, where the UK government brought in 8 points to incorporate online safety as part of child safeguarding, and online safety now is quite standalone. So there should be this whole school consistent approach, robust reporting routines, whole school training, policies, acceptable use policies, of course, education and awareness to everybody, a good infrastructure for internet access, which should be monitored and filtered, and these more all-important student and parent workshops. So that really is the whole school approach. Of course, this year, 2019, Damien Hines, the Education Secretary at the time, then announced that as of 2020, this whole school approach should actually be enlarged into actually incorporating the teaching of online safety within all schools. Let's see what he said.
But I wanted us to go further, because I think the other thing which can really help to build up children's resilience to problems online is to understand it as deeply as possible. So today we are launching our new guidance on teaching online safety in school. And it is a fusion of parts of the relationships education curriculum, the citizenship curriculum, and the computing curriculum. And it's based on the premise that if you really understand the technology, you're less likely to get used by the technology. So, you understand the anatomy of a URL, you understand an IP address. Actually, then, even when the technology changes, your knowledge is somewhat future-proofed for how it will develop. But it's not just about understanding technology, it's about understanding technique.
Now, a lot of what Mr. Hines MP said and what a lot of the government have been saying, I agree with. The slight change I would say is I talk about resilience and understanding, and I've been doing this for many years. It's actually about behaviour, to actually understand what our children and young adults, how they are behaving online. What are they doing that may put them into danger? That for me is the importance. What part of the curriculum it may be in, that's up to the schools really, but certainly understanding behaviour is so important. And when you start to look at, well, who is involved in this whole school approach, you can see here that it's everybody. And then I break down and think at the bottom, well, what should be on the school curriculum, or perhaps it may be enough for schools just to be part of these participation in themed days, say for Internet Day, Anti-Bullying Week and World Mental Health Day. But it will involve students, staff, parents, carers, the DSL, the designated safeguarding lead, that is, or a coordinator for online safety, obviously your IT department, but above all it must include the executive, the governors or the school board. This will then put together the workshops to make sure everybody is safe, including staff. So what is required? There must be these workshops for pupils, which should be age specific, not just for key stages. This is age specific, so it could easily be year one is slightly different to year two, or you combine year one and two, and then you have 2 years at a time. It must include all staff, and of course there must be this offer or the creation of online safety parent and carer information workshops. So important. There must be robust filtering and monitoring, which can either be given by local authorities for some state schools or independent schools, or the school might want to purchase it themselves. Or if they're part of a multi-academy trust, then it might be that there's one bit of software that's being used for a number of schools. As long as it's robust, that is what is required. There must be a standalone online safety policy, which can be referenced to on the child safeguarding policy, but there must be a standalone online safety policy, which should highlight these acceptable use policies, which should be, again, quite specific to pupils for their age, staff, parents, carers and visitors to the school, governors or the board or the executive, and of course a acceptable use policy for bring your own device or bring your own technology for students and staff into school. This therefore creates this culture that incorporates a whole principle of online safety of all elements of school life. It really will give or create this safe environment in which pupils and staff feel protected and comfortable to say and report matters that may come to them. There's a lot to understand, which is why when it comes down to who should be supplying it, you've got to be looking at somebody who's worked in this area for some time, not just been on a course, because the understanding of what a child's possible exploitation or harm may come as a result of ignoring the risk actually is quite lengthy, and you can see many examples here. Some schools will deal with it far more than others. I put right down the bottom there damage to the digital tattoo or the digital footprint. This is so important because at the moment with cyber vetting, when students become 17, 18, applying for work, applying for university, there could easily be a selection process that will include looking at social media. So all these areas of potential online harm as a result of the risk and danger needs to be covered within the workshops, which must be age specific. So who should give it? Somebody who has got recognised qualifications and recognised expertise. Somebody who has actually dealt with online offenders or online victims. This will really help and actually be able to engage with the students. Somebody who is researching into online behaviour and is definitely up to date regarding current sites, apps, games, and of course the behaviour of very young children, and of course all the way up to the young adults and the adults within sixth form and even university. So the workshops have to be quite bespoke. They have to be age specific for years 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and of course 9 and 10, incorporating 16 and over, because these workshops are going to be different. We have to make sure that the students gain an awful lot of knowledge and awareness of what the possibility of harm that could happen to them. And of course there must be this parental information workshop and of course the teachers professional workshop. So you can see there's a lot to cover here. And of course that's why sometimes when schools ask about talking on cyber bullying, very important topic, but there's far more to online safety. So to keep your school up to date, to keep your students and your staff safe and protected, why not email me and I can send you copies of what is required for all schools. Thanks for your time and speak soon.